I'm honestly falling for the Zion hype again. After seeing Zion on Media Day and even on the Pelicans IG post, it's obvious that the young forward visibly cut down on weight and looks healthy again. Now when you look at Zion's Media Day picture last year, there's a big difference in his weight, so that's another key piece of progress that I've witnessed personally. Zion's contract with the Pelicans includes a weight clause that requires the sum of his weight and body fat percentage to be below 295 pounds. And just another way to explain that, so basically if Zion Williamson is 285 pounds and his body fat percentage is 10%, he would be disqualified from that 295 requirement. You know what I mean? So basically his body fat percentage got to be below 10% if he's at 285. He just can't go be above 295 with body fat and weight put together. If Zion was to go over that 295 weight clause, his guaranteed portions of his contract could be reduced, and obviously Zion and his camp don't want that, so I'm pretty sure he would never get to that weight. If I am correct, Zion has lost around 20 pounds this offseason and is 264 pounds, which is the lightest he's ever been since entering the NBA. Now, a healthy Zion is very, very important for this Pelicans roster because we see how good Zion could be fully healthy. So if we can get a full season of healthy Zion, the Pelicans could definitely make the playoffs in my opinion. And yes, I do think the Pelicans have talent outside of Zion Williamson. They just acquired Jordan Poole via trade this summer for veteran guard CJ McCollum. And I did like this trade because you bring in youth and scoring with JP. And a lot of people forget that Jordan Poole averaged 20 points per game and won a championship with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Warriors back in 2022. So Jordan Poole definitely brings some firepower to this Pelican team. And I also believe JP complements DeJounte Murray's two-way play style in the backcourt because JP is a pure bucket. And DeJounte Murray now can focus more on being a true point and guarding the other players' best guards. We know he's fully capable of doing that. And to piggyback off the Pelicans' defense, they also have one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA, Herb Jones. Herb Jones wasn't the most healthy last season, but we all know what he's capable of on the defensive side of the ball. This summer, Herb Jones signed a team-friendly contract extension for 5 years and $97 million with the Pelicans. That right there shows Herb's commitment to the squad. And every team needs a role player like Herb Jones that is 100% bought into the role. He isn't the top, player on his roster, but he knows his role. You know what I'm saying? He is the best defender on this roster. He is that 3-and-D type player on this roster. And Herb Jones said, I love being in New Orleans. My family is here. It's better to just stay close to home. He said he know a lot of people probably talking about he could have made more money elsewhere and he could have got more years and more money on other teams, but he like it there in New Orleans. And you could just tell Herb Jones like it there in New Orleans because he always wearing the Pelicans gear. Like on every media day, on every post-game interview, he either have his jersey on or he has his the warm-ups on. So you could tell, Herb Jones really, really loves it in New Orleans. And then there's another player I almost forgot to talk about, and that is Trey Murphy III. Trey Murphy III has a lot of potential, on this roster, and we even heard it from the star player Zion Williamson. He said it himself that this is going to be a big year for Trey Murphy. He's excited for Trey Murphy, so you can tell that the Pelicans is giving Trey Murphy more of a bigger role this year. He's going to get more touches, more minutes, and I'm excited. I really am excited for this Pelicans roster because it's more of a young vibe here now with getting CJ McCollum out of there, getting Jonas Valanciunas out of there. It's more of a fresh, feeling to this roster. And I do think that this Pelicans team needed that. They needed a refresh. We know B.I. wanted to go. They got B.I. out of there. They got Jonas out of there. I do think CJ needed to go. I think they did what they needed to do. Now, I don't think that this team is anywhere near close to championship contending. Okay? This team is nowhere near, championship contending. If anything, they're just now getting to the playoffs, in my opinion. I do think that this team has a lot more room to grow as far as, getting to a championship. But as far as making that next leap, which is that playoffs, because it's crazy to think, but Zion Williamson has never made it to the playoffs, y'all. We have never seen Zion Williamson perform in the playoffs. And when I think about that, that just hurts my brain. Like, what the hell? Like, that is crazy. The amount of talent that Zion Williamson has and the amount of hype he's came into the league with, it's crazy to not see him in the playoffs yet. And I do believe that this team right here can get him there. Now, I know back in the past, Zion Williamson has had a lot of concerns, especially about his weight, you know, about the amount of games he's played. So it's a lot of, you know, risk to keeping Zion if you're the Pelicans. But I really do appreciate the Pelicans for, you know, believing in this young man for this long. You know what I'm saying? We don't see this with a lot of organizations. Like, a lot of people, I feel like, would have moved on from Zion, but they're continuing to work with Zion. I think we need to see more teams like the Pelicans. You know, they put a weight restriction on his contract. They're making his contract more, you know, more detailed to him, more catered to Zion, and I do like that. You know what I'm saying? They're really trying to work with Zion, make him that star player that they want him to be. And I do think Zion is getting there. I really do think Zion is getting there. Like, him cutting down on that weight, though, has me concerned about his game. Now, that's the only thing I have to ask is, do y'all think him cutting down on that weight, is that going to affect his inside game? We know that Zion is really predicated on strength, on getting down low, on dunking the ball a lot, on getting a lot of, you know, lobs and stuff. So I think him cutting a lot of weight helps and hurts in some ways. I do think Zion needs to work on that jump shot more. Like, Zion can work on a mid-range game, a three-point game. I think him cutting down on this weight won't matter at all. You know what I mean? I do think Zion will still obviously have some of that strength. He won't have as much strength as he had, but that strength is still there. I'm telling you, Zion's still probably, you know, up there as far as one of the strongest in the league. But I'm telling you, man, I'm excited for this Zion and for this Pelicans team this year, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, haven't really had a lot of hope for this Pelican team because they've always been a team that I felt like should have made the playoffs with BI and Zion and CJ. But it's always been health. Okay, health is their biggest. Health is going to be their biggest concern this year, y'all, because they got 4 to 5. Their 4 to 5 best players on this team is very, very talented, but it's a couple of them that's, you know, injury prone, like DeJounte, like Zion. So if guys like DeJounte, guys like Zion can stay healthy, this team has hope in making the play-in, making the playoffs. You guys, let me know down below in the comments how far you think the Pelicans team can make it. I don't know if I'm being a little too optimistic this video, but I really do think the Pelicans can at least make the play-in. Now, I do think that the West is a little loaded, so me saying that they're going to make the playoffs for sure probably is a little bit of a push. I don't think they're making the playoffs for sure, but I do think that they have a chance of making the playoffs this year, and I do think they're getting into the play-in for sure, though. Now, if they don't get into the play-in, that is a disappointment, okay? Now, if Zion go another year with being injury-prone, not playing a lot of years, not playing a lot of games, maybe it's time to think about moving Zion now, okay? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's that time because Jordan Poole don't got a lot of injury past. Trey Murphy's still a young guy, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully he can stay healthy. But DeJounte Murray and Zion Williamson, those two guys need to stay healthy for this team, for them to be any type of good. You guys let me know down below in the comments how you feel about the Pelicans going forward. Do you think they just another team that's not going to make the playoffs again? Or you think they improved and you think they will make the playoffs? Let me know down below in the comments. If you guys enjoyed today's video, do me a big favor. Smack that like button and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Trying to get more consistent for you guys. I love you. Till next video. You dig?